This is a quick walkthrough of the problems on the front of the 4B worksheet from Mat 140B. And let's go ahead and start with A. And for this one, you're just asked to solve this equation. What that means, since each of these variables is linear, that we can get all the variables on one side and then all the numbers on the other. So let's, in the same step, subtract 7 from both sides so that these add to 0. And over here you get -6. And let's add x so that on this side the variables add to 0 and you add the x to this side to get 5/2 x. Then we need to get rid of the 5/2 x, that 5/2 coefficient. To do that, we multiply by the reciprocal 2/5, that divides out. -6 times 2/5 is -12/5. You can substitute that back into the equation and see that it is indeed true. So that's it for the first one, and I do recommend you do the variable and number shift at the same time. Sorry, a little crazy moving this up. Let's go ahead and look at problem B. You have the Great Gadget Company, and their sales is modeled by this equation, S, where P is the price per unit. If the company wants to sell 1,500 units, what price should they charge? Well, we want to use the 1,500, but we can't just use that as it is because P is the price per unit, and it's in hundreds of units, which is what it says here. Sales in hundreds of units. And so how many hundreds are here? 15 hundreds. And so we just use 15. We want the sales to be equal to that, so we substitute 15 in for this S, and we get 15 equals what's on the right-hand side. And then you're just solving a linear equation. Subtract 25 from both sides to get the variable term by itself, divide by its coefficient, and you get 2222, and that's saying that the price you should charge is 2222. For interest, simple interest problems, we're going to use that formula I equals PRT, where I is the interest that you earn, P is the principal that you invest, R is the rate that you get, and T is the time in years. So they're asking you if $4,000 is invested, so 4,000 is the principal, at 3,000 simple interest, so 3% simple interest, so 3%, which is 0.03. Simple interest means that we're not compounding it and there's no exponent on this formula. What will the investment be worth in 10 years? So T equals 10 for 10 years, and we want to know what interest that we have. Now the final answer, they're asking you, what will the investment be worth? So we're going to, when we're done, have to find that interest and then add it back to the principal again. So we substitute each of these values in to the formula PRT, so 4,000, 0.03, and 10. Use your calculator and you get 1,200. Remember, that's the interest that this money has earned over 10 years. We need to add it to the original amount that we invested to get then $5,200. I highly recommend when you do this problem that you list your variables over here on the left, fill in the pieces, then substitute, then use your calculator, go back and look what is it asking you for, what will the investment be worth. Investment is total value, so you have to then add those back in together again. Let's go back up here now to one of our mixture problems. We've got two types of coffee. We've got type 1, and we're going to just call it A, and that's $6 a pound. And then we have another type, call it type 2, and B for variable, which is $11 per pound. The manager wishes to mix 90 pounds of the $11 coffee to get a mixture that will sell for $7 per pound. Now, a word equation would be helpful here. This is the amount of weight of the $11 coffee and how much it costs per pound. The amount of weight for the $6 per pound coffee, we don't know how much we have to mix in, so that's A, and it's $6 a pound. And then the total price that we're being charged for this mix of how much of type 1 and type B, you have to have the total amount of coffee that you have, and you have 90 pounds from the first type and A pounds from the second. That's why it's 90 plus A. Go ahead and simplify to get to the next step by distributing here, removing these parentheses. And then in one single step here, we're going to go ahead and move the variables to one side and the numbers to the other. And when you do that, you get 360 for A. Now it's asking you how many pounds of the $6 should be used. Well, the $6 is type A, so we found 360 pounds of the $6 coffee. For uniform motion, these problems are asking us to take a look at things where you're going one direction and then the other. Sometimes the wind is in the way, or you're on a moving treadmill, and so we've got some adjustments to make. But for this particular problem, it's asking us what her speed on Monday was in miles per hour. So she's training, she runs 10 miles in 70 minutes. Remember, we've used D equals RT sometimes this semester already, and so the distance she's running is 10 miles. We don't know her rate, that's what we're trying to find out, but we do know that she ran 70 minutes. So we divide both sides by that minutes, and so dividing by minutes, which is where this minute here comes from. This minute divides out on this side, but you get miles over minutes on the left. So you get 10 over 70, which is 1/7 miles per minute. Now they're asking you in miles per hour, so you have to do a conversion. Take that mile over minutes, convert the units of minutes into hours by multiplying by this conversion fraction, and then that gives us 60 over 7. And when you use your calculator, that gives you about 8.6 miles per hour. Now for part B, they're asking us how fast will she have to run on Tuesday if she wants to cut 5 minutes off her time for her 10-mile run. And so now she's still running 10 miles. We don't know what her rate is, but the time is now, instead of 70, it's 65, 70 minus 5 minutes. So again, we're dividing both sides by 65 minutes to get the rate by itself. When you do that, these minutes divide out on this side, but you do get to keep them over here on this side, which is why you get 2 over 13 miles per minute. We need to have that in miles per hour again, so you need to do your conversion here, where you divide those minutes out, so you get 2 times 60 all over 13, and that gives you this fraction, which simplifies to about 9.2. So that's it for the examples on the front page. Go ahead and try the back of that worksheet. I recommend you get together with your groups if at all possible. Hope you're having an awesome day.